first off, sorry for how randomly my videos have been posted the past couple weeks. Life has just been... and I have been trying to like make it consistent. I was like, oh, I'll do twice a week because I'm on break, and then a mixture of lack of motivation and doing a bunch of things has made it just like random. Second off, Happy New Year! Here's to hopefully a slightly better year. I mean, the bar's set really low. It just has to be better than 2020, so let's hope that it meets that criteria. And third off, thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers. I think now it's over. Watch as soon as I like post this, all of a sudden like 10 people unsubscribe and I'm under 100. Wouldn't that be funny? Anyways, I just wanted to thank you guys because I started this like a year ago with like 2 subscribers, and I don't even know who those 2 people were. I like started a channel, had no videos, and I had 2 subscribers, and I was like, I don't know. But other than that, I basically started from scratch, and I know 100 is not that many, but it's a lot for me because 100 people want to watch me talk about makeup. I don't know why, but thank you. I appreciate it. I really love when people give me comments. I love responding and just talking to people. It makes me really happy. So yeah, I'd love to kind of grow my community of makeup friends on YouTube. But that's enough intro stuff. I want to introduce my Pan That palette, and this year I'm collabing with the Fantastic Ladies to do their Tiny Pans Pan That palette, which is the theme they chose for this year. So you basically choose a palette that has the smallest pans. You could either interpret that as the smallest amount of grams or amount of product, or just the smallest in like diameter for eyeshadow, or also the smallest palette you have, maybe like has less pans in it. My main interpretation were shadows that had the least amount of product, and as usual, even though I'm doing a Pan That palette, which seems pretty straightforward, I like to make these convoluted and confusing to explain. So here we go. This is my Pan That palette. If you have seen my recent makeup collection organization video where I show you basically where I store things and what I have, then you will know that this is a magnetic palette that I created myself from a little box that had a gift card from Bare Minerals that I got like 5 years ago, I don't know. But as you can see, it is just this stunning red and gold packaging. I think it was like a Christmassy packaging. I just thought this was so beautiful, so I kept the box. I didn't know what I was going to do with it for like a couple years, and then one day I was like, you know, I really want to make a magnetic palette and depot things because I had a palette or 2 that had a broken lid, and it was driving me crazy, and I was like, I just want to like consolidate them. So I was like, yo, I could use this, and I ended up cutting out a little magnet that was on the fridge that we didn't need anymore, and I glued it in here, and now it is my magnetic palette. So when it said tiny pans, I was like, I don't have a palette that has a bunch of tiny pans consistently. I have some palettes that have smaller pans and then some big pans, but I really wanted to get out of my collection a lot of these random depotted singles, and a lot of them had very little product left in them, or were originally from a pan that did not have much left to begin with. So I'm just gonna go through each one. So this is currently my setup. It looks weird with the spacing because I actually have other shadows and random things placed in here that I like to use daily, and I thought it'd just be convenient if they were in here. I would have arranged them in a more aesthetically pleasing way if I didn't have other things arranged, and there's only very few ways to make everything fit. I actually really enjoy rearranging shadows and trying to find a way to make everything fit that is also not in an overly chaotic fashion. Now these 11 shadows are all from 3 different brands. Now these 3 up here, along with this mauve matte, are all from the Wet n Wild Rosé in the Air palette that I've had forever. If you had followed along with my previous kind of eyeshadow pan project last year, I did pan a few of the shades from that palette, and some of them are still in some Frankens. But I depotted it because the lid fell off and I was tired of it being annoying, and so I just kind of took the shades that I liked, that I wanted. And the reason I chose these, first off, they originally had pan and had very little product left in them because I was panning them last year, at least these 2 were. But not only did they not have a ton of product left in them because they were older and I use them a lot, but also these palettes have 10 grams in them, but 2 of the shades are exorbitantly larger than the rest of them. So by my calculation, each of these smaller pans are less than a gram each, which would be some of the smallest pans in my collection. I do not know the exact amount though, because I don't know how much is in the big ones. But yeah, my guess is that these are some of the smallest in my collection, so that was one of the reasons I wanted to get these little singles out. So I was like, yo, they're from small pans, tiny pans, it works. Now these 2 Milani shades are from different 6-pan palettes that I had and depotted a while ago. And again, because I think it was 6 grams for 6 shades, but one of them was much bigger than the other, so I know that the smaller ones must have been less than a gram. So these are all just like guessing, but also since they are older and I've used them quite a bit, there isn't a ton left. Especially this shade right here, it has very little left because I hit very large pan and repressed it. So I feel like there's not a ton left in these. And then this shade and these 4 are from that little Beauty Gems palette that I use in a ton of Frankens. If you want to see that palette before it got destroyed, you can watch that Franken video I made like a week or 2 back. But those pans I believe had 0.55 grams, and those are definitely the smallest in my collection. So I included some of these. A lot of them are used in Frankens, but these ones I did like on their own. I'm actually wearing exclusively these shades on my eyes today. I started off the look with this in my crease. It's basically just slightly darker than my skin tone, so it's like a first transition shade, adds a tiny bit of depth, but it's not like that intense. And I started using this, I thought it'd be darker, but it's actually quite light, so I think it'll be similar to this thing, but in more pinky mauve-y looks. So I used it today and I realized it didn't actually do that much, so anyways. And then I used this in the crease and then this as like a deepener shade, and then this is on the lid and this in my inner corner. The shimmers are not the most amazing shimmers, but they're pretty enough that I don't just want to like declutter them, if that makes sense. So I thought this would be a good way to get some use out of these, finish them all completely up because that is my goal, and get them out of my collection because my singles category increased a lot because of that little palette that I got with a ton of tiny shades. This does seem pretty neutral and boring, especially because if you have seen me previously, I like to explore with colors and stuff, but I plan on having more colors in some other projects, as well as just being able to pick random colors that I'm not panning. So I think these neutrals would be really nice to finish up and incorporate with other colors, because a lot of times I like to do looks that have neutral and colorful shades. So I think this will be hopefully easy and that I'll be able to finish them all up. I'm kind of doing my first pan that palette as a bit easier, but also I just really want to get these shades out because they are either the oldest or the smallest or the ones that I am least attached to in a sense. So I just really want to like make some significant differences in my inventory for the singles category, just because there's a lot of depotted things that I want to get out, and a lot of them are in Frankens. And you will see in the near future some more shadows that I will be panning in the next year. And that is it for today, but let me know if you are also doing a pan that palette. It doesn't have to be the Fantastic Ladies one. I would love to watch your intro and follow you along with your journey. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have an amazing day. Bye!